Hey everyone, I just finished reading these two Power Rangers Lost Galaxy chapter books. Now, let's see, this is the second one in the four-part series of books, although I read this one first because I thought this one came next. It didn't. So anyway, after reading this one, I read this one, and it cleared up a couple things that confused me in that one. This one isn't really that interesting, it's just a straightforward telling of the episodes where the Rangers get the Lights of Orion for the first time. The only really interesting part of this book is Destruxo, the monster. His or well, not really his role, but the other monsters' roles are very cut down. Let's see, other. It feels like Destruxo is Scorpius's only monster. There's no Treacheron, there's no Furio. It's just Destruxo and no one else. He does everything. So anyway, the weird thing in this is Magna Defender, or Mega Defender. Now, in the other book, they call Magna Defender Mega Defender, and it confused me. I was like, wait, why did... And then in the next chapter, he's called Magna Defender again. I didn't know what was going on. What happened? What? Was the editor asleep or something? But then this explains that when Magna Defender grows Zord-sized, then he's called Mega Defender. But I had no idea, because in the show, when he grows Zord-sized, he immediately fuses with Torazord to become the Defender Torazord. That giant form for Magna Defender didn't really need a name. So that confused me in the other one, and this one explained that. Anyway, this one, it's not really anything too special, it's just a straightforward adaptation of the show. But this one, though, has quite a few really strange, bizarre things, and even knowing that the Magna Defender is called Mega Defender when he grows giant, it's still very confusing in here. I took some notes about it. Let's see, in the first book, there was a odd thing, Scorpius, he's called King Scorpius. In the second and third books, that's no longer the case. He's no longer called King Scorpius. I guess they'd watched the show by that point, or judging from this, I don't think they did watch the show. Who knows? Anyway, let's see. So, for the second book, they skipped all the way from the beginning to getting the Lights of Orion, which makes some sort of sense. Like, it's the next, really big event in the story, although I think getting the main Galactabeast Zords would have been more like what you would expect from a second book. Anyway, let's see. Blah, blah, blah. Oh yeah, Deviat's introduced in this, and let's see. Oh yeah, there are some nice little character bits kept in these books. Now the other one, the character bit they keep is where the Rangers are making a cake for Damon's birthday. Maya comes in and eats it because she doesn't know that it's a birthday cake and it's for a special occasion. And at the end, they make up. In this one, the character bit they keep is Damon fixing Kai's car. However, the interaction is cut down quite a bit. And then we get into the really, really weird stuff. Kendricks is studying the Galaxy book, and they give us some background of the Galaxy book in here. It says that the Rangers found it on Miranoi. Yeah. The Galaxy book that was introduced in the episode The Rescue Mission according to this book, it was found on Miranoi, which really blew my mind. Like, in what reality of this book reason did they have to go back to Miranoi? Like, did Maya bring the book with her from Miranoi? In the first of the Lost Galaxy chapter books, the Galaxy book is never mentioned ever, never once in the entire book. So, and it's not explained in this book either. When did they ever go back to Miranoi to get the Galaxy book? Why did they go back to Miranoi? I don't know, but they need the Galaxy book there because it serves the plot, because they need the Galaxy book there to explain how the Rangers figure out how to get Deviat's Zords onto their side. But I'm just wondering, why was the origin of the book changed? Why couldn't they have kept it just, they found it on an alien spaceship? Why was it they found it on Miranoi? No idea, and that was so strange. Anyway, then there's a few little weird pedantic things that maybe I'm misremembering something. Let's see, Leo calls the other Rangers on his transmorpher. And I thought that was kind of weird. Like, don't they just call it Morpher? Like, why is it Transmorpher? And then oddly, later on, they just call it Morpher again. And when someone's calling someone. Let's see. So yeah, the Galaxy book, the Galactabeasts, and the Lights of Orion are all things present in this that don't get really explained all that well. If I had never seen Lost Galaxy, if I hadn't read the other books, or actually even if I did read the other books, I'd be really confused about what in the world is going on in here. Because I know the context of the show, I can fill in the blanks, but then there's still the weird things, like the Galaxy book was found on Miranoi, and if I had only read these books in order, I would know that Miranoi is the planet Maya comes from, the Yellow Ranger, and was turned to stone by Furio. The Rangers never return to Miranoi in the second book, or the first book, Maya goes through the portal to the moon, they go back through the portal, Kai takes the megaship to Miranoi, Furio turns it to stone, the Rangers are off Miranoi, and it's, as far as I know, it's never mentioned again. I haven't read the last book in the series. Where is that? Right here. Mystery of the Magna Defender. So, I don't know, maybe they go back to Miranoi in that, but I'm not talking about that right now. So anyway, back to the weirdness of this one. One of the really odd things, let's see, at the beginning, Deviat goes to Scorpius, and he says, I have 3 Zords. They can defeat the Rangers, and Scorpius is like, cool, take your 3 Zords and destroy the Rangers. And then he captures Kai and Damon, and forces them to fight to power up his 3 Zords. And then, when he, actually launches an attack on the Rangers, he only has 2 Zords. Now, I know the reason. It's in the show. One of his 3 Zords doesn't actually do much. It carries the other 2 Zords. It's a carrier Zord. But in the book, you can't see that. And they don't explain it to you until way at the end, I think after the Rangers have already gotten all 3 Zords. So for a while, it changes to he only has 2 Zords. And Deviat keeps saying, my 2 Zords. The Rangers are like, he's attacking with 2 Zords, and it's very strange, and I have to imagine very confusing if you don't know Power Rangers Lost Galaxy. And anyway, it's during that fight with the 2 Zords, Kai, on his Morpher, calls for their friend, the Mega Defender. Okay, even knowing that Mega Defender was his name when he grows big, that was explained in this book, how is he their friend? Because in this book, they do keep they kind of let me talk about this book again for a little while. At the beginning, Magna Defender just shows up out of nowhere. It says he's a mysterious warrior who sometimes helps the Rangers. And there's no indication that there's any kind of hostility between the two. Until later on. Later on, then he suddenly, out of nowhere, just gets really hot-headed, and the Rangers don't trust him like they did before. The whole reason is so that there's a reason why the Lights of Orion don't go to him, they go to the Rangers. I know that because of the show, but if I was just reading the book, I'd be really confused. Who's this new guy? Why don't the Lights of Orion trust him? Why don't the Rangers trust him all of a sudden? And here, why do they suddenly consider him a friend? It doesn't make any sense. Very strange. And also, there's the whole thing. When Kai calls him, he says, Mega Defender, we need your help. And then the next chapter, the very next page, he's called Magna Defender. And I thought it was an editing mistake or something. Very weird. Let's see. Anyway, after that, we finally get the explanation of why Deviat was talking about 3 Zords. The Zenith Carrier Zord carries the Centaurus and Stratoforce Megazords. And they say Megazord a lot in these books, especially when it gets to the fight scenes. I counted up one of them on one page. It was the last page of the chapter, so there's only half the page is filled with text. And it's pretty large text, as you can see here. It's a kid's book. Anyway, in only half a page, they said Megazord 4 times. Yeah. So anyway, by the end of the book, they have the new Zords. Mega Defender, whatever his name is, disappears, and that's that. Very odd books. When I did the first one, it's just a quick little video. I didn't think there'd be much to talk about, and there really wasn't, except for the whole Alpha 5 in place of Alpha 6 thing. But then there's... So anyway, reading this one gave me, like, the inspiration to make this second video, because there's a lot to talk about in this one. Then I realized that this one actually came before it, and there's not really a whole lot too interesting to talk about in here, except for the vague characterization of Magna Defender. You don't really get a feel for who he is, and it feels so strange. The Rangers trust him at the beginning, and then just all of a sudden they don't trust him anymore. And also, they keep the whole thing where he feels pain when he's fighting, and that's not explained at all. Now, in the show it is, and possibly it does get explained in the next and last Lost Galaxy chapter book, but I'll talk about that one when I get to it. So anyway, this one, very peculiar book. Very strange. And anyway, the only other thing to talk about is they have really nice pictures in the middle, straight from the show. There's that one. And let's see. They've got Scorpius, the Terra Venture, Space Colony, Destruxo and Magna Defender, and the Rangers. And this one was another library book, and it still has the card in there. And it was apparently never taken out. So anyway, that's all for this one. See ya.